ocean, the river and the road take me home to the ocean. The friends in my lifeline, the stars in the sky. We're going to get started here with Speak Your Truth, Part 5, in a couple minutes. So give me a minute and we'll get started. In the light of the moon, I'll be forever singing tunes for you. When the stars are aligned, like the colors in your eyes, green as and blues. It's not little weather, we'll always be together, it's true. And the angels above me, they sing that they love me, oh Lord. I'm traveling alone, so far from home and angels, angels, please don't leave. I'm trying to get to her with the love she deserves for me. You ready to get started? Speak Your Truth, Part 5. I need to come up with some different words than saying I'm excited. Because as I always start it all, I'm excited about tonight. But I am excited about tonight. You know, in between Life Interrupted and Speak Your Truth, you know, it's about changing lives, and I'm excited to be able to help people change their life, you know. And with Speak Your Truth, 80% of suicides are men. 60 to 70%, depending on what kind of study you look at, people are struggling. And, you know, Speak Your Truth is about speaking your truth, and not necessarily to everyone else that's out there. Most importantly, it's being truthful to you, to be able to break your walls down so you can speak your truth to yourself, so you can be vulnerable, so you can be authentic. And with you, it starts with, if you can't be authentic, if you can't be real with yourself, you're not going to be that with other people. So let's get on with Part 5 tonight. Part 5, and again, we only have one more part left, and that's going to be on Thursday. So I'm excited. Speak your truth. Speak it, even if your voice shakes. That's the title for tonight. And the goal is to help you understand that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is allowing your truth to have a voice despite fear. Your voice. And again, so just to reinstate that, tonight's Speak Your Truth is more like a workshop. It's interactive. So grab your pen and paper. Whereas Life Interrupted is more me reading my book, Life Interrupted, Reclaiming Your Identity with Christ. Tonight, it is the workshop format. So it might be a little slower, but it is to get you thinking, because there's plenty of questions. And on YouTube, it is hard to I don't have an area, at least that I know of, where I can add comments. I'm looking at the screen right now. Because I haven't paid for the premium. I don't think that I'm able to put the questions, but that's all right. Message will send you, I can send you this program, send you the questions in case but your voice doesn't need to be steady for your truth to be valid. So how many of you have ever rehearsed a conversation in your head hundreds of times and have never actually said it? I don't know about you, but I know I have. I used to have all these different conversations. In case it goes this way, I'm going to practice it this way. In case it goes that way, what happens if this scenario, understanding everything that might happen, and then you just practice it, or you just, and practicing it, what I mean is consuming your time, consuming your mind. We've all practiced speeches nobody has ever heard. So a quick recap of where we're at. So we're at part 5. Part 1, we identified where we're staying silent. Part 2 is where we explored why we've stayed silent. Part 3, we learned confidence comes through action. That's a big one. I like that one. And part 4 was we discovered how boundaries protect our truth. Tonight we stop preparing. We start taking action. We start speaking. Because at some point, your truth has to leave your head. Otherwise, it stays trapped there. Have you ever known exactly what needed to be said, but couldn't say it? See, there's a huge difference between knowing your truth and speaking your truth. Many people spend years knowing. Few spend years expressing. That's about ready to change now, isn't it? So that's gonna change for us because we are going to be expressing ourselves. And by the end of tonight's call, it is you expressing yourself to you. That's our goal. Unspoken truth doesn't disappear. It usually turns into stress, resentment, frustration, anxiety, or regret. I'm going to say that one more time. Think about this. Unspoken truth doesn't disappear. It usually turns into resentment, stress, frustration, anxiety, or regret. Probably have a lot of different scenarios running through your mind of where you wanted to speak up, but you never did. Your truth is not fully alive until it has a voice. Because remember, people can't read our mind. I think they can. I think that, hey, by me expressing something, not directly, not actually saying what I mean, but let me go about the roundabout way to not exactly say it, because I expect you to understand what I'm trying to say, where it's like people are like, I can't read your mind. I don't know what you're trying to say. Hey, the room is messy. Yes, it is. Well, I said the room's messy. Why didn't you pick it up? Oh, did you say anything about cleaning? No, I can't read your mind. Yes, the room is messy. I acknowledge that. But you're telling it directly of what you're trying to get the point across. And that's where the truth has a voice. For myself, and where I didn't have a voice. Where I should have wanted to speak up. I bring up my accident a lot, or my financial loss, and redirecting how that affected me and held my voice back. Some of the what I didn't mention, after my accident, of being strong on the outside, doing everything that I had to do, having that determination, that perseverance. Woo! I got this. I'm thankful on the outside, while on the inside, I wasn't. The truth was, I struggled with self-worth. Truth was, I struggled with insecurity. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter what I did, what I accomplished, what I owned, what I had, none of that mattered. The self-worth was still hidden in there, and the insecurity, the lack of confidence on the inside of things, the struggles that were holding me back from, when you're not able to speak, and this might resonate with you, when you're not able to share what is on your heart, what is on your mind, and what you want to get out. I am kind of envious a bit about the people that just spill their guts. It may seem annoying because I'm not there and I'm not the one spilling them, but they are, and they're just like, I'm just struggling, and I have all this built up, and they start sharing, and you're like, wow, I wish I could do that. Another point of that is when that decision that I wanted to speak up, because I finally got tired of not being able to look myself in the eyes in the mirror, not being able to be honest with myself. I couldn't even speak up to myself and then move forward and do something for that. How about stop living for other people's expectations? They have this expectation. You could be so good at this, but it's so miserable, and it doesn't bring you any joy, fulfillment. But you just keep on doing it anyways because maybe it's good money, but you're not being honest with yourself and telling yourself, man, this is really killing me. I can't continue doing this. Whether it's the pressure, whether it is the stress or the management, the leadership, whatever it might be, you're not speaking up to yourself about what you need to do because you're going through it. You're surviving. I've been there. That's been part of me. I can't do this anymore. I need to do something different. The moment I finally said something that's been sitting inside me, that's really, it's just freeing. I'm not gonna. I can say that it's a weight off my shoulders. While everything still might be, the struggle still might be there, but it's this release. You know, when you vent. Oh, I feel better now. How often do you do that in regards to how you're actually feeling, with what's actually stirring inside you? The breakthrough wasn't when I figured it out. The breakthrough was when I finally said it. What truth have you known for a long time, but still haven't spoken it? Before we speak our truth publicly, we usually have to admit it privately. So, some of the questions. What truth are you ready to speak? What's still holding you back? Get your pen and paper out. Let's write these questions down. These are for you. These are for you to answer. So, what truth are you ready to speak? What's still holding you back? And I like these. I like these next two questions. What are you afraid will happen if you don't? You know, I go back through these and I give you my what truth are you ready to speak? For me, it was the truth of where I was struggling. You know, the struggling in the everything. Sorry. I just getting lost in my thoughts of thinking of when I stood in front of the mirror and I spoke my truth. Jared, it's time. Are you ready for this? I'm not going to say let myself have it, but being truthful to myself of where I needed to change in my life, where I needed to be vulnerable, where I needed to be real with myself. What's still holding you back? You know what's still holding me back? I have to think about that one. What's still holding you back? Nothing right now because I try and answer this question often. Because to move forward, no matter where, it's not just a one time. I'm healed. I've moved forward. I am changing. No, it's a continual process. So it's a continuation of reevaluating yourself at different stages in your life to be able to speak that truth continuously, not just one time and thinking that you're there because you're not. You know, I will bring this up. It's like going to the gym one time. You go to the gym one time, then what happens? Nothing. Go to the gym for a year, 2 years, you know, If you stop, are you still going to be, you stop for a year, you're probably going to gain that weight back. You're probably going to get a little out of shape. And then you have to pick that back up again. That's no different than your mind. That's no different than you speaking your truth. So it's something that this is an ongoing process. What are you afraid might happen if you say it? You know, what I was afraid might happen if I were to say it, rejection, what people think of me, approval, lost relationships. That's what I was afraid what might happen if I did say it, if I did speak up. What are you afraid will happen if you don't? This right here is a question that should be impacting you where you're at. What are you afraid will happen if you don't? You know what I was afraid would happen if I don't? I'd die. If I didn't speak up, if I didn't be honest with myself, if I didn't break my wall down, not only lose myself, lose my relationships, lose friendships, lose the ability to keep those. I knew that. And if you're at that place right now, that should be your sign to be able to start speaking up. Why do we wait? We wait because of fear, timing, rejection, conflict, uncertainty. Most people think they're waiting for confidence. What they're really waiting for is clarity. Clarity. What they're really waiting for is certainty. And certainty rarely arrives first. So what's the actual risk? Rejection, conflict, uncertainty. What's the actual risk? The actual risk is nothing. You're afraid of what somebody might think. What does it matter? If you have to say something, if you can't say something, if you can't be honest with yourself, how are you going to be honest with anyone else? What's the cost of continuing to stay silent? What would your future self tell you? What truth keeps asking to be heard? The cost of continuing to stay silent, your unhappiness, your unfulfillment, your struggles, your fear, everything that's inside you that's going to stay there. What would your future self tell you? Start now. That's what my future self would have told me. That's what my future self did tell me. Why are you waiting? Do this. Go. Speak up, change, do what you need to do. You know what you need to do. That's what my future self was telling me. I didn't listen for a long time, for many years. I'm glad I finally did many years back. What truth keeps asking to be heard? What's your truth that's asking to be heard? If your voice existed to help you heal, what would it say? Now we have an exercise. You don't need a stage. You don't need an audience. You just need your voice. So the exercise. Choose one truth. Then decide how you'll speak it. And I want to recommend this, that you speak it to yourself first, out loud. You know, people always like to say, oh, yeah, I am telling myself, but they tell themselves in their head, oh, I'm praying. And I like this one. I'm praying, but I'm not praying out loud. You know, God knows my thoughts. Yes, he does know your thoughts, but you need to speak it out loud, just like you need to speak your truth out loud. And I say this, speak your truth out loud to yourself in front of a mirror. And I'm not saying the fluff, the affirmations, not saying that affirmations don't work and that you shouldn't do that, but that's not the truth. That's where you need to go. And that's where the steps that you need to take. I am this person. Well, then you need to start being that person. But when it's coming to your truth and the things that you were struggling with, for you to be honest, what is it? Why aren't you your affirmations? Ooh, how'd you like that one? Why aren't you your affirmations? And then, you know what? Then a trusted friend, somebody that you love, somebody that is there for you. How about journaling it out loud, writing a letter, maybe a conversation, a letter to yourself? In fact, I think that the mirror, speaking out loud to yourself and doing a letter to yourself is perfect. How about mentioning that in a prayer with God, being truthful to him, speaking it out loud? You know, the goal isn't perfection. The goal is expression. The first person who needs to hear your truth might be you. I want you to remember this. Fear is not proof you shouldn't say it. Fear is often proof that it matters. Your voice may shake. Your hands may shake. Your heart may race. You might not find the words, the perfect words, and that's okay. Courage is never required calm. It only requires movement. So tonight isn't about speaking perfectly. It's about refusing to stay silent. One final question. What truth are you finally willing to give a voice? See, silence may feel safe in the moment, but it often becomes expensive over time. And that cost is you. So every truth you refuse to speak eventually asks to be heard another way. How are you acting out? How are you getting defensive? How are you ruining relationships because of your attitude? Fear is not proof. Fear is not proof you shouldn't say. Fear is proof that it matters. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me, message me, and love to help you out. I'm also a narrative coach practitioner, and people that are struggling with this, finding their confidence, finding their truth, finding their voice. I'm able to help you do that because not only does it affect your personal life, it affects your work, it affects you. And by you breaking down these walls, you don't only advance your life personally, your relationships, it helps out your career, it helps your whole life. And I want to help you be able to get to that. And as a coach, we can set up a free 30-minute discovery call of just where you're at, where you want to go, and make sure that see if we'd be a good fit for coaching. Love to talk with you more about that if you're ready. Otherwise, tomorrow night we have chapter 7 of Life Interrupted, and then Thursday we come back to the final part 6 of Speak Your Truth. Thank you for joining me this evening. Have a good night.